Back in 2018, when I first discovered Flutter while working on a mobile side project, there were a few things that really hooked me. First, I experienced zero hiccups installing the SDK and getting the counter app and then various code snippets from the Flutter cookbook running on my iOS emulator. And just the fact that a Google product worked so well on Apple technology already had me curious. The second hook was Dart's keystroke speed static analysis. Coming from Python, a language that I still love, but which leans into different strengths, Dart really struck a chord with me. The third hook was, obviously, hot reload. But what did all of these things amount to? Running code on emulators, quick static analysis, and hot reload are all features that reduce friction. The fact that Flutter just worked, to borrow a great marketing phrase, never stopped feeling magical. Now, software engineers know that coding in any technology is only as smooth as your tooling is strong. And that's why Dart has always focused on a world-class developer experience, starting with that keystroke speed static analysis. And it's why Flutter went all in on hot reload, UI inspection, profiling, and more recently, a robust MCP server. Now, the glue that binds all of this together is the IDE. And Google has just released its next generation tool, Antigravity, which goes together with Flutter like peas and carrots, as Forrest Gump would say. Now, today, I want to walk you through how I've been using Antigravity in my personal and professional Flutter development. I'm joined by Andy Zhang, a designer engineer on the Antigravity team, who is best known for his critically acclaimed appearance on Observable Flutter. Andy, you ready to do this?
I sure am.
All right. I'm installing Antigravity from scratch again so that we can walk through the full experience. Now, this first screen here presents me with multiple options, and I remember on my first day using Antigravity not really knowing which option I should pick. So how do you recommend that Flutter developers think about these options?
Sure. Out of the gate, it's important to know that none of these decisions are permanent, and you can shift between the different modes, so you can't really go wrong. That said, review-driven development is our recommended option for most people. This means that you're always in control to approve or reject terminal commands that the model wants to run. Agent-driven development takes another step in this direction, allowing your agent to take more steps without checking in with you. They still check in with you periodically, but this is a great mode if you want to sit back, relax, and let the agent do the work for you. Custom lets you mix and match the execution and review policy to best fit your own development style. This way, there's something for everyone.
Now, AI agents running off and doing all my homework for me sounds good, but that's only as valuable as my trust in those agents. So how does a Flutter developer start to build that trust with Antigravity's agents?
Great question. By default, agents have two permission models for both terminal execution policy and artifact policy. For both settings, those options amount to number one, a review mode, where the agent never executes commands without your expressed permission. And number two, a mode where it always proceeds and you just let the AI cook.
Now, in that mode where the AI is just cooking, I can still always review changes in like a git diff, right?
Absolutely. Agents propose changes in which you can review in a git diff. This means that you can start off slow as your comfort grows. It also means you should commit your changes to Git often to keep those changes targeted and reviewable.
Okay, sounds good. Now, how do I make sure that Antigravity doesn't run commands that scare me, like maybe RM?
Yeah, that's a great question. I'm glad you called that out. You can add commands to a deny list to force manual review, even if the terminal execution policy is set to always proceed in your settings.
Okay, that sounds great. Now, Antigravity also has a built-in browser for kind of hybrid manual and automatic testing, right? I imagine that also helps further build trust.
Yeah, absolutely. And we'll get to some of that after we have some Flutter code to verify. After choosing your initial options, you'll see Antigravity has an agent manager view. Don't worry, your code is waiting for you behind the Open Editor button in the upper right. On this screen, you can oversee multiple tasks that different agents may be working on concurrently. Monorepos are highly idiomatic in Dart, so you can first agree on a design spec and API shape, then have one agent implement your client while another builds out the server endpoints.
Okay, well that sounds good to me, but no Flutter development environment is complete without the Dart extension. So how do I install that?
Yeah, good point. So to do that, click on the extension icon with 4 squares, search for Dart, and then click install.
But what about MCP servers as part of my setup process. As a Dart and Flutter developer, I can think of 3 or 4 MCP servers that I typically install. How do I make sure that those are wired up correctly?
Yeah, so installing MCP servers is as easy as installing any other IDE extensions. To start, click these 3 dots in the upper right, then select MCP servers, and there's Dart right at the top of the list, which you can install by clicking the download button. Then, to view your installed MCP servers, click Manage MCP Servers and View Raw Config to access your JSON manifest.
Okay. So now that we've got the extension and those MCP servers installed, I think it means we may finally be ready to actually do something in Antigravity. Now, I still personally spend most of my time writing and thinking about code myself, but I think everyone here already knows how to do that. So instead of coding, why don't we lean into Antigravity's unique features?
Sure. While you're writing code, Antigravity will propose autocomplete suggestions. However, on the right, you'll see that same start a conversation input that we saw in the Agent Manager. And here, you can instruct an AI agent to work on tasks of varying complexity.
Okay, so I noticed that this chat dialog in the bottom here has these same configuration options like choosing a model, toggling between planning and fast mode, and uploading multimedia assets as inputs. So that's great. So I think I'm ready to start using this and seeing the planning mode in action. So I'm confirming that I am in fact still on planning mode. I'm using Gemini 3, and I'm going to submit this prompt. Add a fun effect where confetti explodes across the screen anytime the application count is increased.
I love that. While it thinks, this is what we can expect. First, Gemini is going to give us an implementation plan and a task list, which we'll be able to refine to our liking through feedback on those artifacts. Then, once we're happy, we'll tell it to proceed, and after it works for a while and believes it has completed the task, it will verify that work and show a walkthrough, which outlines how Antigravity determines that it completed your task.
All right, look, here is that implementation plan. And this plan looks pretty good, but I do want to force an edit here to see that negotiation process that you mentioned.
Sure. So to do that, hover over a line and click the comment button on the right.
Okay. I think I'm going to ask it to rename this controller because that's very important to me.
Now submit your review up top just like you would on a PR in GitHub and give it a second to adjust the plan.
Okay. All right, look, great. It incorporated that very important request. Now, this implementation plan looks good, so I think I'm going to tell it to proceed.
Cool. So what do you want to talk about while it thinks? Some tasks only take a minute, but others can take a whole hour, depending on what the task is.
Jeez. Well, that's not going to necessarily make for great television. So maybe we'll do one of those like fast forward things where you go like, and then they cut back when it's done.
Yeah, sounds good.
All right. See you then.
Yeah. Hey, look, it's done.
All right. Here's that walkthrough that you mentioned. So it looks like it basically did the things that it said it was going to do. And now looking at the changes, yeah, that seems right. So I'm going to accept them. And then I'm going to run the app. And hey, look, confetti. I mean, I'd probably add like a little more confetti overall, but I think this is pretty good.
Yeah, that'd be a perfect thing to go back and forth with on the agent, if only we had more time.
Indeed. If only. Well, folks, that's been an honest look at how I've been using Antigravity in my everyday Flutter development. If you're interested, give it a try and let us know what you think. Andy, thanks for joining, and any final thoughts?
Yeah, you can download Antigravity at antigravity.google, and remember, for everything else about Flutter, head to flutter.dev.